Alright then everybody, this is Ryan right here, and he got first place the other day playing what deck?
We're playing Predaplant Despia.
Predaplant Despia, okay. Alright then, so before we get started, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to say?
Yeah, shout out to our local GM, Christian Staling, let's see, my brother, Christian Griffin, Zach Griffin, the Back Table Boys, and just everyone over here at GM.
Sounds good. So if you want, we can get started with the deck profile then.
So first off, we have the Despia portion, which is 1 Ad Lithum, 2 Tragedy, and 3 Aliber. Originally we were playing Tragedy at 3, but I decided to cut it down to 2 because consistency, because this is already a 51 card deck. Res, search, spell trap. Next, Edgem Chains for the Friper package. Just gets you polymerization and Dark Monster. Sometimes this gets a bit cloggy. I considered cutting it, but when I did, it caused problems. And of course, best card in the deck, Fallen of Albaz. This is the name and just the board breaker if you draw it. I've drawn this card with polymerization too many times at this point, and when all else fails. For the Preda portion, doing 2 Orthos, 2 Bylus, Cosmardu, Darlingtonia, Follicular, and Triferdium, or not Triferdium, Trinitas. Summon from deck, search from deck, polymerization with legs, search any fusion spell, put predator counters, and polymerization in the pendulum scale. Next is our light targets for Branded Fusion. So I'm playing 2 Stay Sailor. There were a couple times where this came up. You can send this off opening or Branded Fusion and then send Bylus. Sometimes the chain block helps, sometimes it doesn't. After that is Snow, goes without saying. And then Ecclesia, this helps with the mirror match and is just infinite recursion. Next is the spells. Branded Fusion, it's what the deck's all about. Opening, gets us our Despias and puts stuff in grave. Red, quick play fusion. This is Veiler, Imperm, and everything else dodge. Polymerization and Patchwork for the Friper engine, obviously. I considered swapping those out for King of the Swamp, especially for the new format. And then we're also playing for one of fusion spells, Instant Fusion and Prime Fusion. This one's basically just a more complicated Branded in red. It just says if you have a Predaplant on the field, quick play fusion, and if I use 2 Dark Monsters on my field, I can also use 1 Dark Monster from my opponent's field. So that's basically only good for making Triferdium. And then this says summon Millennium Eyes, summon the Predaplant level 5. This is the full combo, so. Let's see, for the rest of one-ofs, Preda Practice says summon a Predaplant from hand, search a Preda card. This is basically just extender and solidify plays, especially by putting monsters on field. Called by Duster and Foolish Burial, these are self-explanatory. Traps. Got Predaplanting. This is send a Predaplant monster from deck to grave as cost to put predator counters on everything that's currently on field. And then if it's in grave, you can banish it when a Dark Fusion monster is summoned to pop a card. This out's mine, which is insane. Branded Banishment, Monster Reborn Super Poly, all in one. And then hand traps, 2 Ash, 2 Imperm, 2 Troll. These came up a few times. I considered upping Droll as well, but other than that, this is pretty decent. Onto the side deck. Playing 1 Zombie World, 1 Banshee for Flunderies and Dragonlink. Lance for Flunderies and Dragonlink as well. 1 extra copy of each hand trap because sometimes they're more impactful against certain decks, so it comes up. Dark Ruler for anything that meets the profile. Super Poly for the mirror match and Dragonlink, and Cosmic for any spell and trap reliant decks.
Gotcha. Alright then. So I kinda wanna see this extra deck. I can tell it's gonna be pretty spicy.
Oh yeah. So first off, for the lower level, the instant fusion target's more of. We have Millennium Eyes, which is just protection, and Emburos. So this is protection. This protects the Brand Diffusion. This protects just everything. If you played correctly, this can basically lead to your opponent's entire board being just dismantled. This says search any Predaplant card on summon, and then I can tribute 1 monster on my field or 1 monster my opponent controls that has a predator counter on it to summon a Predaplant monster from deck. This comes in really handy, especially if I can get predator counters on field early. Because if I contribute my opponent's monsters for it, then I'm dismantling their board at the same, all while making mine. Next is, this one's a bit of an obscure one for this format, Chimera Flesh. This one says target a monster on the field that has a lower level than it, banish it. This works because predator counters reduce the levels of monsters that have levels down to 1. It's also good for removing little bitty combo pieces. Sadly, it is not quick play, but I banished a Gazelle and that really hurt. It also says during your standby phase, if it's in the graveyard, search for any fusion spell, and it does have a battle effect, but that hardly ever comes up. It just boosts itself by 1,000 and decreases your opponent's by 1,000. And then for the obvious ones, 2 Lobelium, 2 Albion, and then 2 Mirror Jade. Shuffle back, banish. Sometimes we end up making this with this instead, because sometimes the board just needs it. 2 Masquerade. These hardly came up, but I'm glad that I played them because they did win me a game. A lot of the time, if my opponent puts up Mystic Mind, we just put these on field and hope that they don't try and deck us out. Because we're playing 51 cards, ain't much they can do unless they're playing 60. Draco Sepelia, Predator counters, it's a skill drain for, not skill drain, but it gets the activated effects. Triferdium, extra deck negate. It's also the biggest beat stick in the game because today I swung into my opponent with 14,000 what per game. Granted, it was justifiable because their life points were at 10,000. Guardian Chimera, and then my favorite card in here, Starving Venom, Predapower Fusion Dragon. This is one of the funniest cards to make in this deck because it is an Omni Negate, and this card continuously gets Nibiru'd. And there have been at least 3 incidents where my end board was these 2, and my opponent Nibiru'd me, and both of the effects went off. Because when this hits grave, my opponent's doing, it reses any dark monster, including itself. So I just have to decide between if I want Mirror Jade or I want an Omni Negate if I put Predator counters on field, which usually isn't a problem because I'll have this. Oh, because 9 times out of 10, I'll have this set. That just about does it for the list. It's constantly changing, and I'm having to find new ways to make it interesting because I keep getting people get used to my build, and then imagine how that goes.
Do you think this version of the deck is better than the pure branded Despia?
Definitely. The end board is a lot stronger because instead of Branded Fusion just being one card combo for instead of Branded Fusion being one card combo for only a Mirror Jade, in this build, Branded Fusion ends up being 1.5 combo for these two. All it takes is Branded Fusion and let's see, Branded Fusion, a discard, and okay, so yeah, two card combo then, and any other way to fusion summon.
Okay.
Which this can usually fill the this usually fills the part because you just go into Branded Fusion and a Branded Fusion and a Dark Monster. That's what it was. You just go into this, banish the other two using Albaz and Stay Sailor. Stay Sailor will send. Stay Sailor can send level 5 and lower plants from deck or extra deck, so we can send Aburium. We send. This will go off effect to banish. This will summon. You discard. Put these two back. Make Mirror Jade, and then you're probably whatever fusion like way to fusion you have, you just go from there into into the Proud of Power.
Oh, okay.
And this comes up so many times that I considered. It gets to the point where I was considering putting back in the field spell, just because I'm barely using Aliber to search Branded Fusion now. Most of the time, I am just searching off of Darlingtonia, because this summons Darlingtonia easy. This enforces the combo a lot easier, and it ends on a stronger board no matter what. And most of the time, I don't even have to normal summon to do it.
That's insane. That's insane. All right then. Thank you so much, then, Ryan, for that awesome deck providing. Appreciate it.
All right.